The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
And welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us. Another radio adventure is right here. We are hearing about shortages of everything. Lumber, shortages of home, computer chips. We're hearing last week shortages on rental cars. But guess what? This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. There is no shortage of super guests and tremendous content. That's right. On this show, we have top realtors. In fact, we have two here today. We're going to check with the moving business. We haven't had a mover on the show, but we have Stefan. We're going to find out what's going on in the moving business. And some shows would stop right there. But no, we have even more. In fact, we have a bee expert on the show. His name is Cody, and he's going to talk about bees. And you would say, why would you have a bee expert on the show? Because it is, like hurricane season, it is bee season. And sometimes the bees find their way into your home, in your structure. That's exactly what happened to me just a few weeks ago. So bees are fascinating. We're going to find out how to prevent them from getting into your home and so much more. And it is about time to get down to business as we welcome two top realtors right here in Houston, Texas, Dory Gordon and Cheryl Santee. They're with eXp Realty. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So here you are, top realtors in the fourth largest city. First of all, Dory, let's tell people about eXp Realty right here in Houston.
Yes, I'm honored and privileged to be with eXp. The number 1 and number 3 earner recruited me, Scott Lewis, 14 months ago, and it's been a wonderful adventure. I have 44 agents I help mentor and help expand their careers. And I've been in brokerage management, as you know, including owning my own companies, and I love the eXp model. We worked remote. We didn't miss a beat in COVID, and business model is technology driven and higher splits and very agent centric.
Once again, your background, you have many years of real estate experience. And let's tell people how many years that is. And were they all here in Houston, Texas?
37. And
37?
Yes. The first 11 years was in Florida. And then I moved back to Texas. And I was in brokerage management now 24 years. So basically what my career has been is building real estate brokerage firms for myself and other national companies, and also building real estate careers. And that's why I invited Cheryl Santee. She's a new agent, and I'm so proud of what she's done in the last year.
She's doing incredible work, you're saying.
Yes, 14 transactions, and she's an accomplished individual herself.
So let's talk to Cheryl Santee. Hey, Cheryl, we're hearing great things.
Yes. It's been a great year in 1 month.
Well, let's tell people, first of all the things you could be doing in the world, and certainly here in Houston, what was it about real estate that brought you into
Well, the thing is, I always loved going to just look at houses. And my husband and I, we had recently bought a house, I think about a couple of months prior to my meeting Dory. Honestly, I don't even know how I ended up in real estate. Just one day I was like, okay, I'm going to go to real estate school. And my husband was like, cool, I'll pay for it. And it just happened. It happened so quickly, probably in a matter of 4 months. And
interesting.
Here we are.
So, but not only have you become a realtor, and it is interesting in life how opportunities, doors open, doors close, impromptu things happen where we enter a certain field or even a relationship, business, or otherwise. But real estate is something that is compelling, as we've talked to realtors all the time on the show. So here you are. But the interesting thing, as Dory's saying, you've been successful in short order, it sounds like.
Yes.
How'd you do that? There's people that want to know.
Well, I contribute part of it to Dory because Dory was very, very, helpful throughout my, my early the early part of me getting my license. Not only Dory, though, my husband, he's in sales, so he helped me as far as my confidence, because I'm confident, but I think I started off very shy, and so now I'm more so of a people person, and I got that from him. And then myself, I think I'm just a go-getter. I'm naturally a self-starter.
And to interject, Bill, I think a successful agent needs that. They need people in their court. They need, their significant other, their spouse, and their family behind them. It's a very hard career. 7 out of 10 get out of the business in the first year. And she is accomplished. She did 14 transactions doing the business part-time also. She's a full-time counselor in a high school, and she was working on her PhD. Her husband saw something in her, and it's a neat story how she came to me, because usually I get a student like this afternoon. I'm going to Champions and doing what I call the meal and spiel, and interacting with students. But actually, I was shopping for a Jaguar, my 7th, and her husband I met, and he found out he was newer at that location, and he was dynamic himself, and he found out what I did, and he said, "Please help my fiance." And
so wait a minute, you were Jaguar, and that's the car. We're not talking about the animal. You're looking for a brand new Jaguar.
Yes.
To your next one in this case.
My next one, my number 7 and 2 Range Rovers.
And you met Cheryl at the Jaguar store?
No, I actually met her husband, and her
okay.
husband, just from our conversation, said, "My fiance is getting her license, and I want you to mentor her. I want you to take her under the wing." And we had a connection. Her husband is a very dynamic individual, and it's all about relationships in our industry. As a matter of fact, I just referred him someone this month, and she bought a car from him. So I didn't get a Jaguar that day.
So he's in the Jaguar business.
Yes. Yeah. But I didn't buy a car, but I got Cheryl, who was definitely a gem. And one of the great things about her too, she has 4 people on her team with EXP. You can grow at your own team.
So Cheryl already has her own team that's being built.
Yes.
So let's tell people, define your role at EXP, because you're doing more than helping buyers and sellers.
So I'm in what is called brokerage management. So I am helping build the number 1 and number 3 earners downline, and part of the Ninja Free Agent team, and manage their Texas team. I am what they call a certified mentee. So I have mentees, and then I have my own downline. And Cheryl is in my downline. So I'm there for her and her recruits to help mentor them, guide them, and get them to the next level.
And there's many, many real estate professionals here in Houston, the 4th largest city. Some say soon
40,000
to be the 3rd.
of them, I think Rob Cook tells me.
Indeed. So what is, and many brokerages, give us a few distinctions of EXP. I think you talked about them a little bit, but let's enhance
we're technology-based, and so remote. You can do your business from anywhere. One of our agents I recruited over, he just got licensed in California, and the reason for this is his dad is selling a $14 million home, and so he'll be listing it. So it's very easy. Like in my case, I'm also licensed in Florida. It's easy for someone to do business in multiple states. Before, you would have to find a broker, and it would be a separate entity. We have over 70 classes in the cloud a week, but part of our distinction is I have a Zoom training for 2 hours every week with our agents, and I do coaching and mentoring. So our initial call is about an hour, and then I do weekly calls that are about a half an hour with each one until they're
So training and technology are 2 real big components.
Huge. And having come from real estate education at one point, new agents really need ongoing, especially the first 2 years of the career. They can't get enough training. And so she is not a statistic. 7 out of 10 get out of the business. But Cheryl, she's actually done very well with 14 transactions.
It's interesting. People love, and even the days before the internet, they loved the newspaper, the Sunday paper, looking at homes. They love going to open houses, even when we're not in the market.
Right. We're still doing a lot of those.
That's right. And the TV shows make it look like every realtor gets to drive a high-end luxury car like you, Dory Gordon, because real estate is so easy, right?
No, it's hard work, and it's night and day.
The TV makes it look easy,
we're ultimately, we have a couple entrepreneurs in the room, and they know it's night and day, and so does Cheryl. Well, Cheryl actually drives a Range Rover and a Bentley and a BMW.
No, I don't drive all of that.
Well,
Not me. I just drive the Range Rover. My husband drives those other two.
how about that? So in the meantime,
You are so funny.
welcome to Car Talk.
I know.
This is our car segment. But in the
No,
meantime,
no.
let me ask you this, Cheryl. As far as the things in real estate, you must have had an idea what it's like. But now that you're doing it, now that you have many transactions under your belt, you've learned a lot. What do you think is one of the challenges or two that you didn't think were going to be challenges, but as you got into it, you're like, I didn't know I'm going to have to work around that, or that's a little harder, or maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was all the same for you. What was it like? Name a challenge.
A challenge so far in real estate.
And how'd you overcome it?
I think the challenge is the biggest challenge I've faced is maybe, clients that come and aren't necessarily ready
You gotta be ready.
financially.
Right.
Yeah, and just credit wise, and I like to work with my clients, just letting them know upfront what's needed and how they can build their credit, and just different tips that they can use to, I guess, get a head start on purchasing a home.
And right now with the market, we talked about shortages. It's hard to find homes for some of the buyers. How are you dealing with that, or is that easing up from last week? I don't know.
For me, it hasn't been as difficult. I think more so because my clients have been wanting new construction homes, and I'm
So it's a
finding
little
that
easier.
I'm finding with new construction, I'm not running into the issues
There you
that
go.
people are running into when they're trying to purchase a resale. Yeah.
Well, that may be the way to go.
Yeah,
New
I think
construction
so.
and call Cheryl.
Yes, please call me.
And with each buyer you help, they get a free luxury car, right?
We'll talk to my husband about that.
yeah.
He's at Range Rover North.
Is that right?
Yes.
What's his name?
His name is Nate Santee.
So he's the guy to get a car.
Yes, you
All right.
should go
If
to
you
him.
want a Range Rover, that is.
Range Rover, Jaguar, or anything,
Yeah.
anything pre-owned, anything else pre-owned, he can get it.
And
Right.
before we close this segment, let's tell people what else do you want them to know, Cheryl?
I mean, now is the time. That I'll tell you that. Now's the time to buy. I don't think there's any bad time.
Whenever you need a home, you're ready to move, that's the time.
Right. And just give me a call.
And the number is?
My phone number is 832-454-7123, and you can call me directly, send me a text, or you can DM me on Instagram, which is Cheryl Santee _realtor. And that's Cheryl, SHERYL, Santee, SANTEE _realtor.
And, of course, they can call 832-454-7123. Dory Gordon, before we close the segment here, what else do you want people to know?
It's a great time to get into real estate.
And to get into it, buy and to get into it.
Get
There you go.
into it and buy
Right.
in real estate. And if they've been thinking about getting into real estate, I can help them with their career and get them. And if they're in real estate, maybe they've been challenged and it's a challenging market to get their offers accepted. And so I'm here to help.
That's where the experience comes in. And, Dory, let's tell people how they can reach out to you.
Yes, Dory M. Gordon. So I am on all social media, and it's under Dory M. Gordon. And my number is 281-798-2077. Thank you so much, Phil, for having us on the show.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
You're-
you so much.
And it's also fun to talk about cars. We need to do that a little bit more
Yes,
sometime. But call
yes.
Dory at 281-798-2077. Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Bill.
us.
Thank you.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
It's time to get on the move as we talk to one of the best movers in the city. His name is Stefan Levesque. He is with Atlantic Relocation Systems. Hey, Stefan, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill. Thank you for having me.
And it's about time we talked about moving here. We've probably it's been 2 years since we've had you on the show, maybe longer. And right now, moving is one thing, but moving in this marketplace. First, though, before we talk about what's going on in the market, let's tell people about your company.
Yeah, so I'm with Atlantic Relocation. We have about 12 offices around the country, 2 in Texas. And we move, our products involve international moves, commercial moves, and of course, residential moves here around Houston, interstate, and international.
So you're kind of covering it all.
All of it.
Any kind of needs for
when it comes to
moving.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you've got that covered. Also, let's tell people, as far as the market right now, everybody's busy. I mean, how often do you hear, I'm busy? Oh, we're super busy. You're busy. Super busy.
Yeah, pent-up demand is a real thing in the moving industry. Everybody that seems to wanting to move last year are moving this year, and the people that are moving this year are moving this year as well. So it's super busy. We don't have enough drivers and space to put anything right now. And so, yeah, it's very, very busy in the moving industry right now. So we tell people to book your move early.
So when you say that, and when you talk about book your move early, and there's a lot of people listening that are thinking about moving from one part of Houston to the other. Mm-hmm. So how much? Let's say they're in that mode. They want to move from one part of Houston to another part,
mm-hmm.
maybe even Conroe. Who knows? Yeah. How much notice should they give you?
That one is a lot easier to do.
Okay, so that's a little easier.
We're not as busy. When I say busy, I mean somebody moving interstate, moving to a different state or to a different country. So what's going on there is there are not enough containers out there for people, right? So when you're moving internationally, you need to order your move a little early so we can order those things. So that's in short supply too, all those containers. So interstate, international need to book early. Local, it's a lot easier.
So with your company, there are other people with a company that are, let's say, we hear so much about California. Let's just use that as an example. We hear about people in California moving to Houston all the time, right? And some of them are with your company, mm-hmm. and they're coming in. Mm-hmm. What states do you see people, other than California, maybe that's the answer, maybe not, mm-hmm. what states do you see people coming from the most?
So that's a good question. And honestly, I thought about that, and I don't know. So what I do and what we do, obviously, is people that are moving from Houston or from Texas to somewhere else.
All right. What
and
state
I can
are they going to?
People are moving a lot to Chicago.
Really?
Yeah. People are moving a lot to Phoenix, Arizona. So if I was looking at my Excel spreadsheet and see so that would be the 2 most popular places. And then the third one would be probably Florida.
Well, I would think Florida would be big. What about the Northeast, the New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, any of that people going out there?
No, I didn't have anybody going there. So just really West Coast and just up north.
And let's tell people about the products that or the menu that your company serves. What are the type of things
Absolutely.
that you're doing? When we think of moving, we're just thinking everybody loads the truck up, the guys load the truck up, they go to the next place, unload, maybe they pack, maybe they don't. What else? I'm sure you do more things.
Absolutely. So I've been, as you know, having my own moving company for over 10 years before I joined Atlantic. And so one of the things that I really like about this company and that as a local moving company I can offer is the ability to do a survey for someone and give them, flat prices. And to me, that's a big deal when you're looking for movers. Is to get
what to expect,
and how to budget it. And to me, even as a small business owner, it is very hard to do that because you need the technology to be able to do it, to be able to weigh the furniture and that sort of thing. So the way I was doing it wasn't as perfect as it is today. So I think that's one of the most important things when you're getting to move is to find a company that can help you do that.
And your company can do it.
Absolutely.
So one of the other things I hear that as far as I like the idea of no surprises if you get the flat rate, so that way people know what to expect. But I also understand that one of the things you're doing, instead of going to the home to say, okay, I'm going to give you an estimate, you're doing it virtually. And that's pretty accurate. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So one of the positive things that came out of COVID, if we can say that, our company went to you kind of like pivoted really well when it comes to going online and helping customers, give customers options. So in the heart of COVID, some customers didn't want to see us in person. They would prefer something, virtual. And so we went ahead and bought that software and were able to do it. And so that what it does is it basically sends you a link on your phone, and it's really easy to use. You click it, and I think we use that, Bill. And you click it, and then you walk around the house, and basically every picture that's taken from that furniture, it brings back the weight of that furniture for me.
So that's what your program does. That's how
correct,
because you guys go by weight.
Right. Everything has to be done by weight when you're doing when you're moving, even locally, to figure out how long it's going to be, again, to come back to a fixed price and something that's clear for customers.
You also said that it's right now you need more people in the company. A lot of companies are expanding like that. And I'm hearing it's hard to find good help. It's always hard to find the right match employee to the right company, but it sounds like it's a little bit harder now. Let's tell people about that, and maybe someone's listening that may want to join the team.
Absolutely, yeah. We're hiring for everything right now, especially drivers. We're hiring for movers, of course. We're hiring for people that want to work in the warehouse. We're hiring for everything, but the drivers are the ones we are lacking of right now. And our company is paying really well for that, with guaranteed salary, with 401k. I mean, the whole nine, talking about, a lot of fringe benefits that are really good for drivers. So it's a good time, I think, to be in that business right now.
And what kind of driver's license do they need? Is there a certain one for a bigger truck? Is that the deal?
Yeah, the CDL license is what's going to get you in for sure.
So once they have that, if they're looking for a position, sounds like you got some full-time jobs available.
Oh, yeah.
What about part-time jobs?
Part-time just as well. So we have warehouse jobs. We have full-time jobs for the summer only. So, people that are in college, people that are, in college, I guess, college age, can apply for the summer if they want some work. So we are hiring full-time for the summer and part-time after that.
And let's tell people a little bit about your story. I think that's interesting. Mm-hmm. You are from another country.
That's right.
You came to this country. We'll tell people about that. But also, the other thing is, how did you get involved in moving, of all things? So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm originally from born and raised in Haiti. Came in the States by way of California. Went from Haiti to California, which is not very usual. Usually Haitians go to Florida and New York.
What was the city in California you started at?
L.A., North Hollywood. Mm-hmm. That's where I went, and my crazy sister was supposed to go the other way, but she went to California, and I'm happy that she did that, and had a great experience there. Went to USC and made some great friends, had a good time, and realized that I needed somewhere more affordable to live in, and so in 2006. Not being from the States, I knew there was something that wasn't right there, because a house was, $300,000-$400,000 at the time, and
California.
In California, right? And my salary wasn't, up to par at the time. So I'm like, okay, where do I go? And so my company was sending people all over the place for training. So we went to Atlanta, we went to Houston, we went to Dallas, and when I came here, I wouldn't say I loved it, but I see that it was very affordable, and then so I researched it and looked into what makes it a good place, and I liked everything about it. So, and then a year after that, after I got my job at Deloitte, I told them, "Hey, can I move there?" And they're like, "Okay, sure." And then that's what I did. I drove here, but the good thing is I had a job to come to, so that was really good. And I worked there for a few years, and but it was a different culture. So you would work from 9 to midnight there all the time. So one day it was 3 a.m. I was still in the office, and I just went online and Googled moving trucks and bought myself a U-Haul truck that night at 4 a.m.
So that was the birth of the business.
Yeah. So I started my own moving company. Next day I went to pick it up. Following day, somebody said, "Hey, can you move 50 boxes in Amarillo?" I'll never forget that. Now I didn't even know where Amarillo was. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Now you do.
And I lost my job that day. I never went back.
So how about that? Interesting story. When's the last time you were in Haiti?
For my father's funeral about 2 years ago. Yeah.
And give us a quick word. many people haven't been out of the United States, but many people, including me, I've not been to Haiti. What's it like? Give us a quick feel.
Yeah, Haiti, the poorest country in the world.
Is that right?
That's it's a really tough place, but I lived there until I was 19, and I wouldn't trade it for anything either. I had a good time. Small villages, small town, everybody's together, but it's a tough place to be. So happy to be here, happy to be working here, happy to have all the opportunities here that we have here. Would like to go back and do something at some point, but yeah, it's a tough place to be, even today.
Wow, interesting. But here you are in Houston, Texas. And you've grown through the moving industry. That's super awesome. You're doing really well now. And the moving thing, you're helping people get from one place to the other, because in the real estate transaction, buying and selling, there's a lot of stress going on. And sometimes the move can be a stress, but you guys try to diffuse that and help people along in a special ways, right?
Move can be stressful. I mean, before I got in the industry, I never thought of it that way. When I told my mom in Haiti that I'm in the moving business, she just, "Hey, honey, it's okay. You can't tell me you don't have a job." She could not understand that you need movers, but movers are really important, and and they relieve the stress. And it's something like, if you're not in the industry, you don't think about it. If you're not a realtor, you don't think about it. But when you're moving, even locally, it's crucial. And interstate or internationally, is even more crucial to have a good mover.
Well, there's all places that people are at financially and in their life and in terms of challenges. But you mentioned Haiti being the poorest country. Here you are. I don't know if we're the richest country. We might very well be, certainly not for everybody, but when it comes to moving, I'm going to guess people have a lot of stuff here versus some other places around the world. I mean, sometimes a 4-car garage and I mean, moving, you move some pretty big moves, I imagine.
Absolutely. The moves
What's
I love.
What's the biggest house that you
Ambassador. I went to Ambassador's house, and it was like a museum. I think an ambassador of Argentina or something like that. And it was just, took way too long to do the survey. I was really mesmerized by it. Or you go to people's houses that have like very special things, like a handmade boat, miniature boat that they built themselves. And see cool things.
We have a lot of stuff, no doubt about that. So let's tell people before we close the segment, Stefan, what else should we know?
Yeah, you
call
can
Stefan.
Reach me anytime. Call Stefan. My phone number is 281-509-3499 for all your needs, residential, commercial, and international moves.
That sounds good. Just give Stefan a call at 281-509-3499. Thank you, Stefan.
You're welcome. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it very much.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827, stewartinsurance.com. That's stewartinsurance.com, or call 866-798-2827.
It is now time to talk to a bee expert. That's right, a bee expert. His name is Cody Moore. He has been a beekeeper, an expert in bees. Now he's an attorney. But Cody, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Bees, really? It's bee season.
It is bee season.
At least it was a couple of weeks ago at my house. Let's tell people, first of all, I know one trivia thing about bees, that they're the only insect that produce food that humans can consume.
Well,
is that true?
That on a mass scale, sure.
I mean, honey, right?
That's right. Honey and bee pollen.
So you have that. They have that going for them, and there's different kinds of bees, but the ones that seem to invade the house are the honeybee. Is that correct? Or carpenter bees too? Carpenter bees can get in there too. And they can cause some damage. But when the honeybee, when they establish a hive inside of your home, it can cause some real problems down the line. And they want to seem like they want to stay for a while. Yes, their whole thing is just real quickly. Their life cycle, it goes like this. When they're in the springtime, when the weather starts to warm up, flowers start to bloom, they start to gather food, they'll want to split. The old queen will take off with about half the hive. Typically, it's around 1 or 2 pounds of bees. And they'll send out scout bees, and they'll go look for a place to build some honeycomb. Tree hollows are their natural habitats. And so
whenever a scout bee finds maybe in between the joists of your home or up in the soffit, to them it looks just like a tree hollow. So they'll go back. They'll tell
wood.
That's right. It's a wood. It's a nice dark place for them to build a hive. So the scout bee will go back, tell the rest of the bees where it is, and they'll move en masse, called a swarm. They'll go inside the house, and it can happen very quickly, within a few minutes, and they'll start building honeycomb right away.
Well, the interesting thing to me, I was doing my exercise walk like I do every day, and I just looked up at my house, which is very hard to get to, the second floor. I looked up at the eave, and I saw this thing. I thought it was twigs hanging out of my gutters, but then the closer I looked, I didn't know if it were wasps, but it turns out it was bees, and they were all around one area of the home. And I'm thinking, now what? So
Yes.
they just appeared, it seemed like, in one day.
That's right.
And there they were.
Yeah, it'll happen within a few minutes. And what you witnessed is the swarm, and they will slowly, one by one or two by two, go inside whatever crack or crevice that they can find in order to get inside the home. And if you sat there long enough, you'll watch that mass getting smaller and smaller, and you may think that they're leaving, but no, actually they're going inside.
They are busy. They're hard at work. And what they do, other than the creation of honey and I guess beeswax too, but when the people that removed the bees from my home, when I saw that what was left of the hive after they vacuumed the bees, because you don't want to kill the bees, they do good.
That's right.
So they vacuumed the queen and all that. But when I saw the remnants of the hive, when you look at the precision in which they built like these octagon shapes, I mean, it's magnificent. It's like a precise machine made this. It's incredible what they can do.
Oh, absolutely. They are magnificent creatures. And that's why I was so fascinated with them as a young man. So they'll build their hive within a certain sort of parameters, and it's called bee space. And in fact, that's how a man in the 19th century by the name of Langstreth came up with the hive. Because it used to be beekeepers would have skips, and they would the traditional. You've seen the honeycomb shape. It looks kind of like a dome, and then they'd be made out of straw or wicker or something like that. And you'd have to destroy the hive to get the honey out. Well, in the 19th century, Langstreth he figured out that there's a certain space in between the combs that if you do it just right, you can actually have removable frames. And that's what gave birth to the modern beekeeping industry, which includes honey production, of course, but bee pollen, beeswax, and perhaps most importantly, pollinating agriculture.
And you are or were a beekeeper, right?
Yes, I was a commercial beekeeper for about 20 years. I was a young man traveling around, and I was in California and, sort of hitting the road, kind of that sort of situation, and befriended a man who was a beekeeper. I needed a job. He needed some help. And at first I was like, I don't know, bees.
Here you go.
I don't know. But I took the job and immediately fell in love with it and just thought it was the coolest thing.
The interesting, going back to the way they construct the honeycomb, it's like the precision, and they're all working together. And you wonder how that all happens with, I don't know, are there thousands? There must have been at least
tens of thousands.
I don't know how many were at my house, but it seemed like hundreds, maybe 1,000 or so. But they were very active, but they're working in harmony to get a job done.
That's right. They communicate with biochemical communication. And a bee will have, during its life stage, it will go through certain jobs. Every worker bee will have that job during its lifespan, presuming it lives to its completion. Starts out as called a nursing bee, which it takes care of the hive. It feeds the queen, feeds the other baby bees. And as the worker bee ages a little bit, it becomes a forager, goes out into the wild and collects nectar and pollen to bring it back. And then as they age, they'll become defense bees. They hang out with the hive and they guard the bees. That's right. Because as most people might know, when a bee stings you, when a honeybee at least, it will die. So as they get older in life, they're like, okay, well, may as well, go out with a bang.
With the ship. Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
And the queen, how do you get to be a queen?
Well, the
queen's born a queen bee, or what happens?
No, actually what happens is that the workers will choose an egg that is at the right age. That's about 18 to 27 hours old. And they will secrete what's called royal jelly from their heads and then feed that larvae the royal jelly. That genetic concoction turns that egg into a queen bee. And then when a hive is queenless or they're making a new queen because they're about to split, they'll, depending on the size of the hive, they'll make several dozen of those queen cells, potential
amazing.
queen bees. And yes, but when there can be only one, so when the queens emerge, the other ones will battle to the death until there's only one.
And now there's only one queen. And the queen lives longer. Is that correct?
Yes. She typically lives, her lifespan is 2 to 3 years, sometimes 4. And in fact, we came across one that was 5 years old. And how we knew that was that we would place markers on the queen bees so we can tell how old they are. Different years, we'll use different colors. And one year, we used a certain color. And then 5 years later, we found it still around. And it had that color from that year. So we knew it was 5 years old. But that's extremely rare. Most of the time live 2 to 3 years.
There you go. Okay, so a big question is the people that removed the bees from my home, and people can go, by the way, to my personal website, radiobill.net, watch the fascinating video. I had the drone up there. You could see every step of the way, radiobill.net. But very important, and also these bee people that removed the bees from my house, I said to them, well, how many more places you going to? They said 6. So business is buzzing. How do we keep them out of our house?
Okay, well, right. So as I explained earlier, they're looking for a tree hollow, and to them, your house looks like a tree hollow.
Oh, they loved it.
Yeah. They usually like it around 10 to 12 feet high, but they can go anywhere. They can go as far as the ground, or I've seen them as high as 5 stories. And so they can pretty much go anywhere. So what you want to do to prevent them from getting into your home is to make sure that your cracks and crevices that lead into those cavities in your home are somehow sealed up. Now, you can do that with, I used to recommend silicone caulking because it wouldn't shrink as bad as latex caulking would. But there are some cracks and crevices that you need open for ventilation. So you would want to put in some sort of a mesh that was stainless steel, something that wouldn't rust, basically keeping the honeybees out. And so then they can get in, an eighth of, all they need is an eighth of an inch.
They're so tiny, yeah.
So
what happens? One goes in and then somehow communicates, hey, I found a place, come on, and brings his friends?
That's exactly
and
right.
Somewhere when does the queen take residence?
Yeah. So the scout bees are worker bees, and they will travel back to where the swarm is. Usually the swarm will exit its parent colony and go hang out at a tree branch. And a lot of times people will see a huge cluster of bees hanging out on a tree branch, and they typically don't stay there. So whenever I used to get a call about swarms hanging off of tree branches, I would say, well, give it a day or two. They'll likely go away, but sometimes they won't, and they'll stick around. And if I was close enough, I'd swing by and gather it. But in any way, the scout bee would go find the hollow in your home, and then go back to the swarm, and like I explained earlier with biocommunication, tell everybody there where this great place to live is.
It's kind of like a realtor. Yeah, hey, exactly. I got a great house for you.
That's right.
A great place.
That's perfect for them. And
we're all moving. Let's go.
And then so the swarm moves en masse, and the queen is in there as well. They all act as one.
All right, so going back to what attracts them, so to prevent them from coming to the home and making residence there, seal it up. Is there anything else that attracts them? Are there smells? Are there maybe certain fragrant bushes that we have or landscaping that might make the first thing that happened, I said, why my house?
Right.
Look at all these houses in the neighborhood.
I know.
They came to my house.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we can't really know too much. Usually it's because you're in their flight path. It is quite random. There are many theories out there. My favorite was that your house would be in a flight path between the parent colony and a good food source. So they're traveling that way anyway. So that's how they found your house. But as far as like your landscaping, flowers, bushes, none of that really
like
matters.
The Buc-ee's on the way to
that's right. You've just it's about location.
Yeah.
So and that's what it boils down to. People would ask me, what should I plant, or is there anything here that attracted? Not really. There's no flowers or any kind of shrubbery or anything like that you did or that you can do, to prevent them from coming to your house.
It's so fascinating. Well, Cody, before we close the segment, what else should we know about bees or anything else? And if they need a good attorney, they can call you, right?
That's right.
Speaking of being an attorney, from beekeeper to attorney, but go ahead.
Yes. Well, I would just say you have a healthy respect for honeybees. It can be quite intimidating, quite scary sometimes if you come across a large swarm, or if you have bees living in your home, or if they even get inside your home. The best thing to do is leave them alone and call a professional.
That's right.
And what I got out of honeybees, because it's a young man's game, or a young person's game, I should say.
Especially going to the second floor and on ladders and stuff like that.
Exactly, like the photos you showed me, climbing up on rooftops and things like that. So I thought, no, I'd take the safety and comfort of being an attorney. So, and I represent families and homeowners around, just your friendly neighborhood lawyer.
He is Cody Moore, your friendly neighborhood lawyer, former beekeeper. And the number, if they want to reach out to you, Cody, is
281-241-7161, or you can go to CodyMooreLaw.com.
281-241-7161. Thanks, Cody.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is again, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. John, welcome.
Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Here we go. So many interesting things on the show. I'm going to have to hear this show at least 2-3 times.
At least 2 or 3 times. Yes, exactly. I mean, from real estate education to what's the best way to move to understanding biocommunication with bees.
They are fascinating. Not quite as fascinating as insurance, though.
No, it's hard to top insurance.
That's right. And you always bring great stuff every week on the topic of insurance. What's going on today?
Well, we had some additional bad news recently. I was reading Morning Brew, which is a online news source powered by Wall Street Journal, and over the 4th of July weekend, it appears that a cybercrime organization has struck again.
Not again.
Yeah, they affected it. They're claiming 1 million systems across 17 different countries. So what they did was they targeted a U.S. IT firm. They got into the IT firm's software, and from there they were able to get into the IT firm's customers' software, and that's where they are holding the data hostage. They're demanding $70 million in Bitcoin in ransom in order to get a universal decryption code that'll free up those that have been affected. It appears that most of the affected companies are public agencies and small businesses. But there was a grocery chain in Sweden that had to shut down almost 800 of their stores over the 4th of July weekend because of the ransomware.
The cyber criminals never sleep.
They don't,
and they're far-reaching. It's global.
It is global, and the scary thing is that I think when this phenomenon started happening, people just assumed that there were the large companies that are being targeted, but that's not the case. And as an example here, these criminals went after the smaller companies, and especially with more and more of us working remotely or having hybrid schedules where you're remote and then you're in the office. So you're connecting to your business's systems in a variety of different ways, whether it be through your home internet provider or you're out virtually or back in the office. That it just opens up the cyber criminals' opportunities to get into your system, and as in the case here, hold it for ransom.
Well, it's distressing when we hear about the criminals making impacts and advances towards these large companies that who knows the kind of firewalls and sophistication and teams of people they have working on that. When it comes to us as individuals, we must be super easy to hack into. It's kind of scary that way.
Well, it is, and especially if you're a small business, you're a property management firm or a real estate brokerage or a title and attorney agent, and you have a team of 5, 10, 20, 30 people, and they're out all day long. You're transmitting and storing private public information. So you have people's social security numbers and their potentially account numbers. You have their address. You have potentially bank account numbers. Things that people can turn around and utilize either to hold them hostage or ruin them financially by taking that information and buying a car or getting a loan.
It's disturbing in so many ways. But in the meantime, Stewart Insurance, you're able to help people, especially in the real estate world, have some extra tools in the event something does happen.
Absolutely. So, cyber liability plan is one that we speak to our clients about on a very regular basis, and its intent is to provide coverage for any damages that might be caused by a breach of your data or a breach of your network. So that's what the cyber policy does, is provides that coverage if that happens. But as we talk about all the time, Bill, not every plan is the same. It just is, as every client that a realtor deals with has their own unique needs, or every person that a moving company deals with has their own unique needs. Cyber companies and insurance companies have unique plans. So you need to make sure that whatever plan you go with, it covers the relevant risk that your industry has and those associated costs.
In fact, one of the great things about Stewart Insurance, your people are very well versed in having conversations to answer questions. Because when I think about real estate, as I often do, and the changes from the 80s to 90s, I mean, cyber anything wasn't even part of the thing, and now technology is such an important tool for the real estate professional, but it's also an area where the bad actor, so to speak, can get in and cause harm and do all sorts of things. So.
Absolutely, and you don't realize the costs that can be associated if you have a situation where there's been a cyber crime and your firm's attached to it. I mean, it can begin with the investigation cost. Did your firm cause the issue? So having a forensics group come in and do that evaluation is not free. So you've got that cost. You're going to have the legal costs of an attorney to handle the claim. There's potentially some regulatory costs depending upon the damages that are done or perceived to be done, and then the cost to recover. If there were funds that were lost, or you had to notify clients that you had been hacked. Those kind of recovery costs all come into play, and that's where a solid cyber liability plan can help you minimize that risk.
It's unbelievable. What else should we know, John?
Well, just remember that there's all kinds of things that the resulting loss can be. It can be an extortion or ransomware we talked about. It could be the data loss in your system, or the loss of access to that data, both short-term and permanently. So that's an issue to keep in mind. It could be identity theft from third parties. So it could be an identity theft issue for your clients, that they come and steal your client's identity, and as I mentioned earlier, use that to make purchases. They can use it to slander somebody, and then suddenly you're liable for that slander. And then again, there's always a chance if your firm handles any types of funds, that loss of funds could be huge damage.
Unbelievable. So before we close the segment, what else should we know?
Well, if you'd like to speak with one of our insurance advisors about your cyber liability plan, or putting into place a cyber liability plan, we would love to have that conversation. You can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. You can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com and learn more about us online at stewartinsurance.com.
In fact, anybody around the United States can call
866-798-2827.
Whether they're leaving Houston or they might even be on the way listening to this show. Who knows, right?
Absolutely. They could have one of Stefan's movers taking care of them, and they're in the truck with them, and they're listening to the show.
Hearing the show, yeah, and that's how things should be, no doubt about it. The phone number one more time, John, is
866-798-2827.
Thank you so much. As we wind up the show, everybody's back. Dory Gordon right here with eXp Realty. Hey, Dory, what else should people know?
It's a great time to buy or sell real estate or have a career in real estate. You can call me at 281-798-2077. Thank you, Bill.
Give us a quick word, though. In your experience of the many 30-plus years, what is it, do you see certain characteristics in people that can make a good real estate professional versus others? What do you see?
Integrity, techno-savvy. In Cheryl's case, she had a master's degree. She was part of AKA, a sorority. There's just a skill set and demeanor and the way someone handles themselves.
And I would add, too, you need to be patient with people. Be kind, be patient, because let's face it, in the world of dealing with people, there can be challenges, especially when stress levels are amplified during big decisions and big moves.
And you brought up something so important, because she's a counselor, and that skill set is perfect for real estate.
And your number again is?
281-798-2077.
So everyone's saying such great things about you, Cheryl Santee, also with eXp Realty. So before we close the show, what else would you like to add?
Just the same as Dory. It's the perfect time to buy and sell real estate.
No doubt about it. And again, your husband's out there selling these luxury cars.
He is.
So as the realtors are becoming more successful and they want to buy and drive around like in the TV shows and their luxury cars, they can call him up, right?
They definitely can give him a call. His name is Nate Santee. He works at Range Rover North. That's going towards the Woodlands, and his phone number is 832-921-9764.
He didn't know he was going to get a plug.
He didn't know, but now he knows.
A couple more radio shows. I'm saving my money. I'm going to give Nate a call. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Give us your phone number one more time.
My phone number is area code 832-454-7123.
And now we welcome once again the top mover right here in Houston, Texas, Stefan Levesque. Hey, Stefan. Before we close things down, what else do you want people to know about the moving thing or anything else?
Hey, Bill. I would encourage everybody to go to new places. And if they decide to do that, give me a call. My phone number is 281-509-3499.
And when you have the right mover, that helps take the stress out of it. I know that myself, because there's so many things. When you move all your stuff and all the things that you've gathered and packed away, you want to be in the good hands, right?
You really do. You want to go with somebody who's licensed and able to move you interstate without a problem.
And if something breaks during the moving process, how do y'all handle that?
It's a claim process. You have valuation that you need to have on your move, and that's another very important part. We can talk about it on a different show.
But in the meantime, they're also the movers are taking great care too.
Absolutely.
Because no one wants a claim.
Absolutely.
Stefan, how can people reach you?
281-509-3499 or go to AtlanticRelocationSystems.com.
There he is, 281-509-3499. The show would not be complete without hearing from our beekeeper once again. Here he is, Cody Moore. You know, as I said on the break there, Cody, I bet there's not any really... The term busy as bees comes for a reason. The bees are busy. They all have a purpose. They're getting the job done wherever they are, right?
That's right. Yeah, they have one purpose in life, and that's to work hard.
And the work that they do is also incredible. If there's any bees listening to the show, I'm just saying you guys do tremendous work, but don't come back to my house.
Right. And if you do have bees in your house, it's best to call a beekeeper or someone who deals primarily with honeybees to remove them. And just like most other things, if you, whether it be bees or if you have a legal issue, call a professional.
There you
go. They can reach me at 281-241-7161. Or they can go to CodyMooreLaw.com.
That's right. From beekeeper to attorney, Perry Mason, Saul Goodman, move over. Here he is, Cody Moore right here.
Indeed.
And I want to encourage people, if it is fascinating, go to my website, radiobill.net, radiobill.net. That's right. And go back a few YouTube videos, maybe 5, 10 ago. You could see the bees being removed from my home. It's fascinating. Great music on there. Also, you'll get to be in, and again, take the precautions Cody said as far as this show, Stewart.com/radio. You can hear this show again and again, see the tremendous guests. Look at the roster of guests that we've had. It's incredible, some of the tremendous people we've had on the show. That's right, Stewart.com/radio, Stewart.com/radio. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. On behalf of John Bramlett, me, Bill Knapik, and all the people at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance, we appreciate you listening. Come back next week for even more fun and information.